Welcome everyone to the Study Abroad for Business Students session as part of Study Abroad Week. Normally this time of year, we would be doing our Study Abroad fair on campus. As you all know, this is not a normal year. And so we are kind of doing everything virtually this year. A lot of our programs have been affected by COVID-19, but Study Abroad is very cyclical. It's something that students can plan years in advance if they would like. So what we really want to do is just make sure that students know that Study Abroad is still happening, whether it's virtual or whether, you know, it's going to be in the future.
So what's the fucking point?
Everyone please make sure that you're muted. But yeah, so we just want to make sure that everyone knows what the options are moving forward so that you have plenty of time to plan for the future. So some quick introductions. We'll all go through and introduce ourselves. I am Elizabeth Hall. I work in the Study Abroad office. I am a program manager for our short-term faculty-led programs in the College of Business.
Hi, I'm Julianne. I am the other program manager in the Study Abroad office, working with short-term programs in business, basically every department that is not marketing.
Hi everyone, my name is Alma Sandoval and I'm a study abroad advisor, and I work with students that are interested in studying abroad on term-long programs. The programs specifically in my portfolio are students interested in studying abroad in Europe or Latin America.
Hi everyone, my name is Rhonda Bartosik. I'm the Senior Academic Advisor in the Driehaus College of Business. I work with undergrad students who are interested in short-term as well as long-term study abroad trips. So I certainly help you to figure out, which classes we should maybe be saving for when you decide to study abroad. There is also another advisor in our office that works with students interested in studying abroad and kind of see how that can fit into your curriculum. And her name is Diane Hugh.
We also have Melissa Markley, who's on the faculty in the College of Business. I just saw her. I'm not sure where she went. But
yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, good.
Hi, I'm Dr. Melissa Markley. I am the chair of the Business School International Committee, and I also go on 3 different study abroad programs a year. So I'm excited to be here to talk about our programs and to answer any questions y'all might have.
Thanks, Melissa. So Alma and I are going to give an overview of some of the options that are available within the College of Business. I will talk a little bit about short-term programs, and then Alma will talk about term-long programs. So those are the 2 types of programs that are available. A short-term faculty-led, which kind of like how it sounds, it's a program where you're going to take a class on campus, maybe virtually, depending on when you're going to go. And then during the break, you will then travel with your class and with the faculty. So for example, if it's a December program, then you're going to take a class in fall and then travel during the December break. Same thing with either spring break or summer. So it's always travel during some sort of break in classes with a class proceeding in the quarter before travel. The lengths of the programs, it sort of depends on when you're going. So spring break, because they're buffeted on both sides by classes, those are going to be a little bit shorter, usually about a week, whereas the December and then summer programs are anywhere from about 10 days to 3 weeks, just depending on the program. As I said, it's going to be during any of the 3 breaks. So December, spring break, summer. Those are available within the College of Business. So we have programs through business going every single term, which is not always the case with all colleges. In terms of program cost, it'll be your tuition for the actual class associated with the program. As long as you're not going above 18 credit hours, you're not going to be spending any more money in terms of tuition than you normally would in a quarter. And then there will be an additional program fee. And the program fee is covering the majority of your travel costs. So for example, most of the programs have round trip airfare included. So that will be in the program fee, your accommodations while you are abroad, any sort of business visits, transportation, if you're doing any sort of cultural activities, theater, anything like that, that is part of the program itinerary, that will be included in the program fee. There are also usually all breakfasts and then several group meals that are also included. So those will all be broken down on the various program pages on our website. So if you are interested to see what it will cost, please look at the various program pages, because there is, usually there can be big differences depending on where, like the location of the program and what sort of program it is. There are learning domains that are associated with short-term programs. So for example, with business, students are going to get experiential learning, as well as maybe the global business perspective. And so if you are interested, let's say you're a business student, but there's a program through the College of Communication that looks really, really interesting to you, it may be possible for you to go on that program because of a learning domain that you may get from that program. So it may have a scientific inquiry or something like that that you need in order to graduate. You can use our short-term programs to fulfill those domains. When you apply for a program, as long as you are submitting the application by the deadline, so the deadlines are all listed on our website, you will be put into a pool to possibly get a scholarship from the Study Abroad office. There are also a business seminar scholarship, and it's just for undergrad business students only. So there is contact information on our scholarships page for who you should contact in the College of Business if that is of interest to you. But yeah, so there are study abroad specific scholarships. There are also a whole list of non-DePaul opportunities that you can look into, apply for, and that's on our scholarships page.
Elizabeth, there's also a special scholarship just for finance students.
Aha,
That if you are a finance student, please apply for, as we've been holding on to it for a couple of years because we haven't had as many finance students as we would want. So there's money available there too.
Thanks so much. Yeah, so that's a very, very brief overview of short-term programs. So I'll let Alma go over term-long programs.
Yeah, so term-long programs are programs that go abroad at least a quarter. So fall, winter, spring quarter, winter, spring. Most schools abroad are semester schools, so that goes across both our winter and spring quarters. And you can go up to a full academic year, and you'll take your full classes, all of your classes abroad at that institution, and you'll earn DePaul credit back here. And so with term-long programs, there aren't really programs that are major specific. A lot of our programs offer a variety of courses, so it really depends on what degree requirements you need to complete for your degree. So as you are looking through any of our term-long programs, you know, take a look to see what courses they offer, how they count back at DePaul, and that way you can kind of figure out whether that fits into your degree progress. And you can take learning domains. Some courses offer major or minor credit or open electives. So really there are a variety of options in terms of term-long programs. And one other thing I would say is, you know, don't, if you see the program is offered in a country that speaks a foreign language, don't let that hold you from applying to the program. A lot of our programs offer courses taught in English, even though it's in a country that native language is different from English. There may not be a language requirement. So for example, we have a program to Budapest, which is really a common one that business students do. Their students, while they're there, take Hungarian 101, but there's no prerequisite course for the program. So you don't need to know Hungarian ahead of the program. You will take Hungarian 101 while you're there, and the rest of the classes are taught in English. So the language doesn't come into play with your academic courses. So definitely something not to hold you back with our term-long programs. And So yeah, so really there are a variety of options for term-long programs. We're happy to look through those courses. Me as an advisor, there are other advisors depending on the region. We will sit down with you and look at the courses that are offered on the program and help you figure out how they will count back at DePaul, and then you will meet either with Rhonda or Diane in the business school to figure out, you know, how is that course going to come into your degree progress. So it's all about planning. And so again, kind of how Elizabeth started the session, we really hope this information helps you figure out potential options, whether you study abroad in the next year or, you know, the last year of while you're at DePaul. So that's a quick overview on term-long programs.
Thanks so much, Alma. So next, we are going to hear from Rhonda.
Oh, Rhonda, you're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry about that. So when is it suggested for student populations to typically study abroad? And really that's up to you guys. The best time is usually during the fall, just because for the term long trips. That's partly because the schools that you would be going to are on the semester system. So the semester and our quarter system tend to overlap. So if you did decide to study abroad for the fall, you would be back plenty of time to start back with DePaul in the winter quarter. The short-term trips are also really great. There's really no conflict there because those are usually, like they said earlier, during summer, winter break, spring break. So really, it's up to you. And that's the big thing that I hope all of you take away is that if you do decide to study abroad, planning is key. And so we really hope that you will meet with the Study Abroad office as well as Diane or myself early on is great. But we've had students, you know, decide to study abroad their freshman year. Some don't decide until their senior year, but just definitely come in and see us because you'll be pleasantly surprised at how we can usually kind of get this experience to work within your curriculum. How does a study abroad process work for student population? So again, just call, schedule an appointment with either, again, myself or Diane. And we like to meet with students individually because each one of you has different requirements depending on your major, depending on if you've transferred to DePaul from another institution. So it really is important for us to kind of sit down with you, look at your degree progress report, see kind of where you're at, and then determine, okay, this is a good time for you to study abroad. And these are some courses that we would suggest that you hold on to if you're looking at going on, you know, the Budapest trip, or if you're planning to go somewhere in London. So, you know, we look at the trips that you're looking at as well as your degree progress report when we're helping you plan. Credit hour limit. So the good news is you can go on any number of study abroad trips that you'd like to. So there's no limit there, which is good news. The number of hours you take really depends on the program and whether you're looking at going for a short term or a term long. If you are going on short term, it usually is about one class that you'd be taking. And that is the ICS 350 course. And ICS 350, again, we can either use that to fulfill a couple of different courses actually. And again, you know, we talked to you in more detail, but that can usually fulfill experiential learning, possibly global business. In some cases, we can even use that course in the major. So again, you know, when we sit down and talk with each one of you individually, we can kind of explain, okay, how these courses could work. Term long, again, depends on the trip. I think Alma or Elizabeth had mentioned, you know, some trips are a little bit more, they offer more business courses than others. So when we are looking at those term long trips, we can kind of identify based on what you need to fulfill, okay, this particular trip tends to offer more learning domains. well, you've already fulfilled your learning domains. Let's maybe look at this other trip that's going to offer a little bit more business type courses, some courses that maybe you still need to complete. And then of course, college specific information. There are a number of trips to go on. And next we're going to have Melissa talk to you about some of our short-term trips that we have available. If anybody can talk you into going on a trip, it's Melissa.
Yeah, that's sort of my thing. So they've talked to you about all the specific administrative things, but I can really talk to you more about just how exciting and fun short-term study abroad can be. And as far as when to go, go whenever you can fit it in. Right now, I know it's frustrating because we aren't running programs. There's still safety and security issues, and there's countries that aren't as welcoming to us right now, and we just need to be cognizant of that. But taking all the information right now that you're going to get from the session and talking with the people in advising, talking with Study Abroad, talking with me if you have specific questions. I know my email is at the end of the slide deck. Write it down and feel free to reach out about anything. But this is a great time to plan it into your schedule, to think about when's the right time for me to travel. And with short term, each of the different quarters offers kind of a different opportunity. So December programs, we have 4 classes that are 12, we have to do 12 hours of classwork before we travel. So that would be done in the fall quarter. And then we travel in December. One of the benefits of traveling in December is that, well, you actually travel, most of them leave kind of the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And then you can stay over in the country that you're traveling in, or stay over in Europe for a week or 2, because you have so much time after the travel portion because of the way the schedule works in the quarters at DePaul. When you do a spring break trip, you go to places that maybe have significantly better weather at spring break, but you do have kind of a shorter trip because it's barricaded by winter and spring quarters, and the classwork would be done during winter. Summer, again, you would have the classwork in spring, and then you would travel in summer, and sometimes faculty plan that to go as soon as school gets out. Other people will run it maybe later in the summer, in August or something, depending on where they're going and what kind of challenges they have getting speakers and travel all together. But in the summer, you have then again an opportunity to stay over and continue your trip after the study abroad portion is completed. So really and truly, it's based on a couple of things. When does it fit into your schedule best? If you're doing internships or work during the summer, that might not be the best option for you. One of the other 2 times would be. And then it's really about what interests you. So in a typical year, this not being a typical year, we run between 12 and 15 programs in the business school. And the committee tries really hard to balance those programs over a number of topics and a number of locations. So we have luxury marketing in Paris, which of course is always a fantastic hot topic, which goes at spring break. Or you can go to Germany at spring break and study manufacturing and sustainability and quality, and visit BMW car manufacturing, BMW motorcycle manufacturing, a brewery, to see how a computer is running an entire German brewery and yet keeping up with the standards that the German government wants. In December, we have trips that go to Switzerland. That would be one of mine. It's all about nonprofit organizations. So if you're really into how business ideas and ideals could be applied in nonprofit or government and political sort of social sector kinds of applications, we go to Switzerland, and I put you in front of all my friends who work at World Wildlife Fund, UNICEF, ROCBA International, Doctors Without Borders, and I have them teach you about how business skills are integral to what we're doing in social good fields at this point. In the summer, I also have another trip that goes to Iceland, Denmark, and Sweden. It's all about sustainability. We climb to the top. We take a boat out into the ocean to a wind turbine, climb the ladders to the top of it, and sit on top of the wind turbine and have a discussion with the architects who built the array and who are kind of in charge of the wind sustainability options for Denmark. And that's only one of the things that we do during that trip. There's trips to India, there's trips to Japan, there's trips to China, there's trips to about hospitality, there are trips about sports marketing that go to London, and basically during the day you speak to corporations who manage everything from soccer to horse racing, and then in the evening you go and actually watch the sports. So there is this amazing plethora of options and opportunities that you can choose from short-term study abroad programs. And we're developing more every year. We're taking this kind of downtime to really dive into how do we grow some new trips that'll be fun and exciting. And you can ask anybody who's here from advising or study abroad. I'm always like, what about this idea? What about this trip? So we're really trying to be on top of exciting new opportunities for short-term study abroad. As far as how is the pre-travel course administered, again, the faculty is really responsible for doing that the quarter before travel. You have 12 hours, some do partially online. A lot of people do in class because rapport building and having kind of a cohesive group is super important. And in country, we make sure that our faculty are doing exciting cultural outings, fun meals, go to castles or on boats or to Christmas markets or to see improv in Paris or whatever it is that really kind of matches what we're doing. We go on a boat trip in search of the Northern Lights when we're in Iceland. So lots of different kinds of opportunities. So we always kind of look at the trips and try to balance them about 50-60% academics. Then you've got about another 30 or 40% that's going to be cultural and engaging and enlightening and teaching you to travel and experience. And then of course, you know, you have kind of the papers and things that you have to write as well. So as you can tell, I'm really super excited about short-term study abroad. Once they get me started talking, they can never get me to shut up. So I will kind of rein back in. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, email me. I'm on the computer all the time, just like you all are. And I'm happy to answer any questions that I can. I cannot answer when we will start traveling again, but my hope is very, very soon because my wanderlust is in overload right now and I'm ready to get going. So.
Thanks so much, everyone. So that leads to questions. So if any of you have questions, thoughts, concerns, feel free to voice them now, or if you'd prefer to put them in the chat, feel free to do so.
One thing that I wanted to add, I don't know if we have any accounting Strobel students out there or not, but in the event that we do, I just want you guys to know that study abroad definitely can still be done if you're doing any sort of special honors programs like Strobel. Strobel specifically has it built into their curriculum to allow for study abroad opportunities and some of the other honors programs as well. So don't think just because you're in one of those programs that study abroad is out of the question. It's definitely not.
Rhonda, thank you for bringing up accounting because there's a important note too. With some of our term long programs, you're actually earning more credit hours than you typically would. You know, typically at DePaul, each course is 4 credit hours. And so on some of these courses, you're earning six credit hours, or it may vary depending on the location, how the credits transfer. But I do know for accounting students, they often love that because especially if they're studying for the CPA, they need extra hours. So that can be a benefit of term long programs for accounting students.
Absolutely. Good point. Thank you.
We've gotten a couple of questions in the chat. One student asked, is the process for graduate students the same as for undergraduate students in terms of finding a program and their advising?
As far as for the programs, graduate students apply the exact same way that undergraduate students do through the studyabroad.depaul.edu website. You can go on there and get information about all the programs and then apply through there. Also, somebody asked about the trips, and yes, our trips basically, once a faculty member is approved, continues to go every year until they decide not to go any longer. I actually was just talking with Dr. Jim Morey, who leads the luxury marketing in Paris. Yesterday we were talking about it and expanding the topic a little bit more to do more experiential marketing, where luxury would be a piece of that, but we could add in some other really cool experiences with some of his contacts in Paris. And he has every intention to continue running it at spring break, sort of forever, as most of our faculty do. We have a faculty member who's been going to the Czech Republic for, Elizabeth, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like 30 years now.
No, I think that's about right. I know it's like more than 20. So
put it this way, he used to go to the airport and pay with his own credit card because you had to like there was no internet and you had to buy the tickets there. Most of our programs, I've been running Switzerland for 8 years. The Germany trip's been going for 14. Because the faculty create these programs. These aren't programs that we're purchasing from some company that slapped it together for us. These are programs that our faculty are passionate about and that are topics they're passionate about, and they develop them themselves, and they're using their contacts and their vision of what this is. So Dr. Zafar Iqbal from the marketing department leads India. He is from India, and he takes you to where his family used to live and where he used to shop, and he takes students around and kind of says, these are the sorts of things that you should be buying. And a lot of the visits are with people he went to grade school and high school with that have created organizations in India. So these are very personally touched programs that we run, and they're never a one-off. Whenever we approve, the expectations our faculty are going to do this year after year after year, so that students have the opportunity to say, I want to do that in 3 years. I think I want to do Iceland as kind of my last senior program that I'm going to do, and they plan that into their program. And we want to be respectful of that and make sure that we have that kind of longevity with these trips. So you can't get me to shut up about it once I start talking.
Okay, so there's a couple more questions coming into the chat. All of the summer programs are currently listed online. Yes, so all of the summer 2021 are currently active, or at least they should be, on our website. So yes, if you go there, all the summer options are there. And the second part of the question is, if we would like to study abroad, but if it goes virtual, we'd rather not do that. How does that work? So there is no fee to apply for a program. So let's say you apply for summer 2021 with the expectation that it will travel, and then suddenly things change and it either goes virtual or it's moved until the next year, etc. It's not like you've put any money towards it. You haven't committed to the program yet. And even if you did, we would give you the option to kind of see what you want to do. So even if it was past the point where you had to commit and say, yes, I'm going on this program and I'm in it, if things change, we're always going to give you an option. So it's like, if you want to withdraw, do you want to move forward? Do you want to go to this other program? So you're always going to have choices. So I would say at this point, there's no risk to you to apply for a summer program, because we can always move your application to a different program, to a different term, just depending on how things go. So yeah, I would say go for it, and then we will keep you updated. If things do start to change for summer 2021, we're at a point where we haven't made any decisions regarding summer or even necessarily spring break yet. I would say just go for it, and then we will be in touch whenever things change. So I don't know if anyone else has any notes on that, but that's what I would say.
I can also tell you that the faculty are really concerned with making sure that the students who apply to their programs do get that opportunity at some point. And so, as we all know, when this kind of started, we had spring break trips that were about to travel. And those students were given the opportunity to kind of back out and go another time. And the faculty have all kept those names and know who it is that they had already been accepted into a program, and they'll go to the top of the list when applications come out the next time. They'll be considered as, we're trying to fulfill this promise that we made to all of you to provide these programs. In addition, there's a lot of discussion going on between study abroad, between the business school committee, between the faculty leaders, global engagement about how do we create engaging programs in this time of a pandemic. And everybody is working really hard to deliver programming that's going to be rewarding and educational and helpful and interesting, so that you continue to have this experience. So we're hoping to travel soon, but in the meantime, we are trying to do things that are going to be valuable as well.
And just a few follow-up questions. So the deadline for summer 2021 is February 1st. So yes, there is a possibility that may change. There are times where we decide, we have spots available on a program, so we're going to extend the deadline. But for right now, the deadline is February 1 for summer. So another question was, when is a good time to start planning? So because of the deadlines and the way that they fall, it is a good idea to have, I would say, you know, you're going to need to know if you want to do summer, you have to put that application in by February. So it's always going to be at least a quarter ahead of time. So I would say, you know, the farther out you can kind of start planning, the better, but it's going to be at least a full quarter ahead of when you're actually going to start taking the class.
Yeah, I would just add onto that as soon as you know you're interested in studying abroad, just come talk to us, because we'll walk you through the timelines and kind of figure out, okay, you know, we missed this deadline, but okay, these are the deadlines that are upcoming and these are the set of programs and maybe these are options for you. We'll walk through all of that. So the moment you know you're interested, reach out to us and we can talk through options.
And just to add to Alma's statement there, the sooner the better, especially when it comes to looking over your degree progress report. I have students come to me their freshman year and they're like, I don't think I'm gonna go until maybe I'm into more of my major courses. So they might opt to wait till junior year. That's fine, because that way we can kind of identify or help you to know, okay, I'm gonna save some of these courses for when I do study abroad. And that way we can kind of work through to make sure, okay, you're not gonna have any prerequisite issues if we hold on to some of these courses till you do go on your trip. So, you know, it's never too early to start thinking about it.
And I think Rhonda may have mentioned this, or someone else mentioned this in their section, but there's often this myth with study abroad that you have to do it your junior year, and that's not true. You know, we have programs that are dedicated to first year students, so you can study abroad as soon as your first year, but really sophomore, junior, senior year, it's all about planning. And the one thing I would add on to, planning it early on is you have more requirements open the earlier you are in your academic career. So it just gives you more flexibility in terms of options and what will work. As you progress, you know, your options may get a little limited, and we'll still work with you and figure out what those options are. But definitely the earlier you are in your academic career, the more flexibility you may have in terms of selecting a program.
There's also the issue that we know through research that a lot of people who go on short-term study abroad programs early on in college have a tendency to do a second study abroad or even a long-term program because you just get hooked. It's so exciting. It's so fun. You meet cool people. You see incredible things. And that one first year sort of experience that you do it could be the start of something really impactful for you. I had a student who decided to go on short-term study abroad with me to Switzerland. She ended up going to London for graduate school and then lived in Thailand. And the first time she ever traveled out of the US was on the study abroad program. And it changed the entire trajectory of her entire life. So it really can be a big deal in your life. The earlier you start thinking about that and getting into it, the better.
It happened to me. I went on a short-term program between my freshman and sophomore year, and then decided to go back to Japan for a semester, and then ended up living there for a few years down the line. So you never know. Well, and I work and study abroad now. I think all of my colleagues kind of have the same story, but it is very true. So yeah, the earlier you can start planning, the better. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? If not, here's all of our contact information. You can find all of our information on our website as well. So anytime you go onto any program page, you will actually see the study abroad contact for that particular program on the page. And if it is a short-term program, it always has the faculty email as well. So please feel free to reach out to us. Faculty are such a great resource, especially if you're really curious or concerned about the academics or the day-to-day itinerary, where you're gonna go for business visits. They are more than happy to share that information with you. And now we also have student alumni contacts on our program pages. So if you want sort of a student perspective, you can reach out to them as well, just to say, hey, why'd you go on this program? What did you do? And so they're a really great resource as well.
I believe, Melissa, you have some videos too, don't you? You or Andy Clark has videos, right? Of trips.
videos of trips. No, I don't have any.
Okay, it's not you then. Okay, it's
No,
Andy.
it was Andy Clark. Always, he's really
Right.
incredible. He's on Instagram, and you can probably look
Okay.
him up on Instagram, and he posts tons of pictures. He does a sports marketing program where he goes to, well, he went and did one until now, to Arizona, where they would go to spring training, and it would be all about like immersion into that area. And he's translated that into the global program that he does. So you can check him out on Instagram. I also just made a post that if you're interested in any of these trips and you see a faculty name tag to it, email them directly. Again, we create our own trips. We're super passionate about them, and every single faculty member would be more than happy to answer specific questions you have about their trip, about what that looks like, about what they need to be doing. And again, who doesn't want to talk about a fun and exciting travel trip that they created? So feel free to reach out. Don't be afraid of them. They're really all good people, and they're happy to talk with you at any time about what they're doing.